Central, right?
Everyone.
Yo!
Nice to meet you.
Yes, sir. I was just writing down some of your winnings. How we doing?
Good, good. Yeah, no, excited to do this. I've been liking listening to everyone else. So it's a cool
Yeah,
way to listen to some of the guys tell their side of some of the tournament stuff.
I feel like I saw a niche. I wanted to do it last year. I've been talking about it for a while, and then with MAKB closing, it kind of lit a fire under my ass.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be more connected. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to competitively fish this year. I went a little hard last year. I entered 19 total throughout the year with the gas mileage and all the lures and stuff. I mean, it was financially, it was a rough year. And then I had a pretty tough winter. My truck had to go in the shop.
Man.
Just
Yeah,
it's
I had to get a
been
new
a
truck.
rough winter.
Yeah,
Just say that.
I had to get a new truck back in July, but I had an SUV before that. So being able to toss the kayak in the back now is like a total game changer.
Yeah. There's always little changes throughout. Like for me, yeah, and like a kayak with pedals, it was like, oh my God, it's such a life changer. And then I'm
Oh,
sure like a motor is going to be another life changer. Doing
yeah.
that this off season.
Nice. Turova.
No, my buddy's got an XI3 that's only 2 years old. Yeah, he bought Connor Reevy. I had him on. He's got that
Yeah. Is
Untamed Outdoorsman. He bought one of those. I think it's called the Kraken. It's the
that the Garmin one?
Yeah.
Those
He's
are
excited for
crazy.
that.
Yeah.
He works. That's what he does for a living. He's like one of those marine, not quite mechanic, like, but he installs all this stuff. So he got an insane deal. He's like, it was too good to pass up. Any questions about the questions?
No, I think I'm good. I wrote down some notes and stuff and went through
Yeah,
them.
we
So
might not hit all of them. And then again, if you make a mistake, you can always start back over. This app I use, I always tout it. It's called Riverside. As soon as it's over, it like edits everything for me. It takes all the ums out, all the pauses. It like
oh, really?
cleans it up. Oh, dude, it's insane.
That's
I
cool.
don't do all these clips that I'm putting up. It's literally the app. It's suggesting them based on the content, and it gives you a score like 98, 97, 96. And then I'll
That's
go
cool.
in and then I'll just like clean it up. I usually take my words out of it, put all theirs in.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I when you were like, "Oh, I'll get it up tomorrow or Friday," whatever it was, and I was like, "Man, that's a quick turnaround. You're committed." But that's cool. It does it all for you.
Yeah, so if we had an hour podcast, just say like say it's 60 minutes, and you take out the pauses and the ums, it probably cuts it down to like 50. And then I probably get it to like a tight like 35, 40. And doing the editing and that, I can do something else in the house. Like I could be cooking or washing dishes, and anytime I hear something, I just hit the space bar and pause it. And then I can the way it reads out, it's pretty wild, not to get too deep into it, but it shows the audio. I mean, it shows the video on the right. And then on the left-hand side, it's like you're reading a script, right? Like it already took your
Transcription
words
it.
and put it into it. And then
That's
it's
cool.
just like Word. It's just all you do is highlight it and then you click delete. Or like if you're talking in the background and say you're talking and I'm talking in the background, or I say something and then I get it back, I can mute my mic and then keep yours active. It's fucking wild. It's pretty crazy.
That's cool. What do you have for a kayak?
I have a Native Slayer Max 12.
Okay. That's like the last gen prior to the Titan, right? Sort of thing.
Yep. Yeah.
Cool.
So I originally bought a 10, a Slayer Max 10. I loved it. And everybody said I should have got the 12. I bought the 10 just because it was more manageable. I wish I would have bought the 12, but my hull cracked. So I pulled the warranty on it. When I got the warranty done through Troy, I mean, I didn't, I'll talk about it someday. I mean, I don't want to get too deep into that, but I have this huge story about how it was through 3 bells and they kind of fucking kept me running like
Man, you got caught up in
7
that.
weeks. Dude, I was like 7 weeks. They wouldn't even give me an answer. I went to Troy. He had an answer for me in 4 days. He's like, you can come pick a kayak up today.
Dude,
But,
they're up there. They're so good up there.
and now I'm not complaining because I got what I asked for. Okay. The kayak that Troy gave me was the first gen so they made 2 different generations. The second generation, they changed the seat and they put ports on each side. In the first, I mean, in the second generation. So when I got the first one, and I got the 12 and I got the first one, it only has a plate on one side. So it kind of sucks because like I'm loaded. I got 2 9-inch low rants. I got the forward facing sonar. Like I'm fucking loaded on electronics. Yeah. So like I did my best. I didn't actually drill in anything. My buddy Jim helped me, but yeah, I like my Native. If I had to switch right now, I'd go right to a new canoe.
I just got an unlimited.
Nice, still good for you. Fuck yeah, man. We'll get into that. All right, man. Let's just start right into it. Introduce yourself. Tell us how long you've been kayak fishing, and then tell us like how long you've been competitive kayak fishing.
Yeah, my name's Mark Solomon. I've been kayak fishing sort of casually, maybe for the past 5 years or so, and recreationally, just sort of casually fishing my whole life. And then started getting into the tournament stuff with MAKB 2 years ago. So first tournament was Kachichewit, the first tournament of the year back in 2024 for the North Division. So yeah, that was a total slog. But I think one fish got me like 13th or something, and I was like psyched. I didn't have a trolling motor at that point either. So it was like one of the windiest days like I've ever been out in a kayak my entire time in a kayak. And I brought this like little 5-pound mushroom anchor with me, and I was like swinging around, and I got back in, saw like everyone cruising around. I was like, got home, bought an XI3 online that night. I was like, I'm just getting this thing. So
That's awesome, man. Just diving right into it. So
yeah.
what were you using for a kayak before? Like you just mentioned you had an unlimited, but what were you using for a kayak before?
Yeah, so the past 2 years I've been using a Jackson Liska. So it's sort of a river kayak. I got just like a super good marketplace deal on it. And after I got it, I realized they don't really make many aftermarket parts for it. So I sort of dove into doing all that myself. I like tinkering with stuff and making parts. And half the fun of this for me is like in the winter, going downstairs and just like outfitting the kayak and rigging it up out and playing with electronics and things like that. So I had a Jackson Liska. Before that, I was just sort of in a sit-in little kayak, whatever it was. But yeah, this past year, I think like October last year, I picked up a new canoe, unlimited. So been working on that all winter and been wanting to get out on the water, but the snow keeps coming down. I was like trying to take my time outfitting it. So it'd be like, I'd be able to get the whole winter out of it. And now I'm just like, I'm done with it already and just itching to get out. So
Use some of those tournament winnings for the new kayak.
yeah, exactly.
Love it, man. I love it. All right, so you're in the new unlimited, the new one, right? So you got it all loaded up. You got the motor and everything on it. What do you run for
Yeah,
electric?
and then not the unlimited max, not like the new one.
Oh,
Just
okay.
just the regular unlimited. So yeah, I took my XI3 off the Jackson, put it on that. I'm running a HDS 10 Pro with active target. And then yeah, just sort of it's always fun rigging it up. Like
Yeah.
and then you get out on the water and you're like, why did I do that that way? This sucks. Then go back and tinker. So yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy how personalized these kayaks can actually
I
be.
know.
How did you feel about MAKB closing?
Super bummed. I'm north of Boston, so having the North Division was just super local, like being able to go to like Attitash and Chibako and have all these lakes like within a half hour was super, super convenient. I understand why it shut down and everyone has every stuff going on in their life and things like that. So I get it. I completely respect everyone who put it on, Ken, all the guys who helped them out, like ton of work. Yeah, super bummed about it, but excited to see all these new leagues popping up. Should be interesting. It seems like sort of reincarnation of MAKB, just like different divisions or different leagues now, right?
Sure. Yeah, each one offers a little bit different. Do you have one in mind that you might want to focus on, or are you kind of just going to take the jumble route and pick whichever one works best?
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna focus on New Hampshire bass this year, sort of like from where I live, almost on the North Shore. Getting up to like the Lakes region in New Hampshire is almost just as far as getting out to like central Western Mass, only a little bit further. So I'm gonna focus on doing those, and then may sprinkle in some of the Mass bass stuff like the Charles and Kachichewit, the ones that are locals.
Yeah, the NH guys. I was on the committee right before. A great group of guys, man. They got an awesome lineup this year.
I know I've never fished any of them, so it's like I'm gonna probably try to like ensure I get up for a day and pre-fish for each one.
Perfect, man. I love the pre-fishing of it. Even though they say, oh, you're going up there pre-fish, it's still fishing. You're still on the
Oh
water.
yeah.
You're still casting.
It's an excuse, right? It's an excuse to go out there and like spend all this time and drive all this time. It's like, yeah, I'm pre-fishing, right? So
So we all know how you ended the season, but let's go to the previous year. So you got your first year in, you assessed it. So how did you end that year, and how did you start the season?
yeah, so 2024, I think like the first half of the year, I was pretty consistent. It's like starting up the tournament thing, it's like a little intimidating. You get out there and you see all these guys that like been doing this a long time. They know exactly what you're doing. It's like I was sort of still trying to figure out my style. And then, you psych yourself out some tournaments and you don't get a limit by like 1 or noon or 1, and you end up psyching yourself out for the last 2 hours or whatever it is. So learning a lot of that. I think I ended the season. I think I looked it back up. It was Sudbury, rough tournament. It got like 17th or 18th. I think I only got 4 fish. So it was like one of those times where you just like get out there and you psych yourself out. I love the Sudbury River. I have my PB out of there, but like sometimes you just psych yourself out and you can't find them. So that's how I ended last season. So like not the best, but still learning and was excited to keep doing it, you know.
So what were your expectations going into last year? Like, did you set any goals? Did you have put any expectations on yourself?
Yeah, I wanted to just be more consistent. I mean, I think like my goal was to like finish in the money, like at least one tournament. So like starting last year, the Charles River, I went backed up and looked it up. You did pretty well there for the Eastern, or I think it was Northern Division. First term of the year, I skunked. It was a totally miserable day. We were all soaking wet, freezing.
Very windy.
I couldn't get a fish all day. It was like the rowers just being in your way. So that was like a miserable tournament. I was like, what am I even doing? Like, this should be fun. Why am I out here, right? But I was like, keep doing it. Did Attitash, found a good pattern there in pre-fishing, ran it for that day, that morning, and ended up getting third at Attitash. So that was sort of like gave me a little bit of confidence. I feel like that's like half the game with this tournament stuff. Sometimes you're like, I think I know what I'm doing. And then sort of just having that confidence to like, oh yeah, I noticed that. Let's try this and things like that, rather than like, oh, that guy's across the lake. Should I be doing that? So
Yeah, a lot of internal reflecting in fishing. Like, should you be doing
yeah,
this? Should you be doing that?
yeah,
All right. So yeah, so you took third. So that basically solidified your entry into the championship, right? Because the way MAK
yeah.
top 3 automatic bid. So did you qualify in 2024?
I did through Northern AOY, but I think it was like a 2.5 hour trip out there, and it didn't work out timing wise for me to like go spend the night, and I didn't want to do that in a day. Like that's just sort of brutal. So I didn't end up going last year. I wish I sort of did, but yeah. So I qualified in 2024, didn't go, and then the third place at Attitash qualified me there, and then it was just sort of like okay, like qualified for the championship. Like let's just go sort of have fun. Like that's sort of the goal for the year, I guess, is like try to get in the top 10 AOI, and then it's like well now it's like just sort of have fun.
Yeah, it's definitely intimidating when you get into it, but I felt the same that you did. As soon as you kind of place a little bit, even if it's not in the money, like fifth, all right, like, hey, it wasn't like at the bottom, I'm at the top. It gives you a little confidence. Even if it's
Yeah,
false, still feels good.
yeah, definitely.
So going into the tournament, did you get to the championship? Did you get to pre-fish at all?
Yeah, so I pre-fished twice, 2 launches, one further upriver. Got out there like one day after work for a couple hours and like didn't really like what I was seeing. Got like one 8-inch, 10-inch smallie or whatever it was, and didn't really feel good about what I saw up there. And then ended up going downriver more, sort of where it was more tidal. Then I got out on a weekend day, so I was able to spend a good amount of time out there. Went upriver a little bit, went downriver a little bit, and found a couple of like sort of rock humps and rock piles and some laydowns that I like the look of. Some grass flats that I can get into that in a bit, but like didn't really see like many fish up on the grass flats at the time during pre-fishing, but it looked a lot better. So it was like a lot of just you know how it goes, like a lot of internet sleuthing. You end up like on these forums from like 2008 where this guy's like, oh yeah, go check this rock pile a mile down from this launch, right? So it's like that's part of the fun of it too, is just like Google Earth and going 10 years back when it was low water and you could find the rock piles and doing all that stuff. So yeah, pre-fishing, did a bunch of that and a bunch of research for Merrimack.
So did you figure a pattern out? Like, was it something that you're like, all right, I feel good that like this could work? Like, I mean, we just talked about false bravado. Did you have any idea that you could win the championship?
No, going into it, I had like zero expectation of that, right? Of course you go and you want to do good, but like if you asked me before the championship, like, oh, you going in to win? It's like, no, I'm just going in to like try to place well and like get a limit and prove to myself that I can sort of hang with some of the big dogs, right? So that was sort of the goal there. Found a pattern of on those rock piles, drop shot, and then weighted dice on the rock piles and some of the pylons under the bridges. So I was thinking like first thing I was gonna do that morning while the tide was slack, because like this was my first time I don't really fish much rivers, and then like nonetheless like stuff that's semi-tidal. So like learning that whole side of it too is interesting. But I was like, okay, like well it's slack tide. I'm gonna go try to hit some of these bridges because the fish might be out from behind these pylons, a little more active, things like that.
Which launch did you go out of for the day of the championship? Do you
It
remember?
was in Haverhill. It's next to something something yacht club.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, when
So
you
yeah, it's out of there.
launch, you kinda if you go left, it goes, like, over to a bridge.
Yep,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
And then right kinda goes up to a bunch of grass. So did you head upstream or did you go downstream?
So when I got there that morning, it was I
A
think
lot
there
of
was like
people.
yeah, there's like 5 or 6 of us at that launch. I showed up and it's like I like to think I usually get there pretty early, but like I pull up and it's like Mike Baptista, Jake Stem, Patrick, Anthony, like they're all there, all set up, and I'm like, oh shit, like these guys are already ready to go, and it's a half hour till launch. I get there, we end up launching, and then everyone runs upriver, and that wasn't my plan. So of course, like all these guys, poor hammers, go upriver, and you're just sitting there like, am I screwing up by going downriver right now? But my first spot was only like 5 minutes downriver, so I was just sort of taking my time putting around, and it was low. The tide was out, I think, so it was really shallow up in those grass flats, and I was seeing a ton of bait. Um, and I was seeing some smallies jump at these bait balls running around in the grass, and I was like, okay, like I wasn't planning on this, but why not? So like I tied on a locking bait, a SB 105. I love those. And just when it was lines in, started throwing a popper or not a popper, walking bait, and like within 10 minutes had an 18. In the first half hour, had another, I think it was 15, and then another 15. So by like 7:30, I had like 3 fish.
Mm.
It's like crap. Like, I guess I found some sort of pattern. So I wore that out a little bit. I got a couple smaller ones, and once sort of started getting a little deeper, the water started moving a little bit faster. I started going down to some other spots, but yeah, it was like that wasn't the plan. But since my first spot was so close and there was no one around me, everyone else went the other way. I had this time to like sort of, as I was just sort of putting over there to look around and see what the river's telling me. So listen to that, and I'm glad I did.
What was your pattern going in? Like, what was your game plan, and did it change? I mean, I know you got the first few fish on top water, which is like bonus that early.
Yeah.
But
And
what
like
was
a ton of fun. Like I was having a ball. Smallies on top water
right.
in the fall, like it's just a great time. But
October, you're
yeah, like
catching top water fish.
yeah, it was awesome.
So sorry.
Pattern going in was spinnerbait on wood, and then drop shot on rock piles. That
Okay.
was like sort of what I was gonna go run.
And both of those you kinda stuck with them right through the tournament?
Yeah, so like there was that first grass flat, and then sort of started going up to more rock piles, and on my way up there would sort of go along the shoreline and throw spinnerbait along some wood that's down there, grass, and got a couple more going like that. There's a ton of carp running around too, and carp were doing like the floppy things where like they jump out and slap and scaring the crap out of you. So yeah, this spinnerbait worked well. And getting to those rock piles, just throwing a drop shot, same sort of thing on the pylons as well.
When you're in tournaments, do you typically follow the leaderboard?
If I'm doing poorly, I'll make myself not look at it because I'll totally psych myself out. If I'm doing okay, I like to peek at it every once in a while. I don't like check it every hour, but like if I'm submitting a fish, I'll usually take a look because it's right there. But yeah, I like to try to not look at it because like all it's going to make you do is doubt yourself, right?
Was there a point throughout the day where you got that feeling you're like, "This could happen"?
Yeah, I think it got an 18 and a half around noon, and then like another 17.75 at I think like right after that. And I was like, oh, I went to go submit it. And I think like I was at like, I think I was pushing 89 at that point. And like the next place down was, I think it was like Anthony or Jake. It was sort of all our launch. Our launch did really well, but they were down like the 84, 85. And I was like, okay, like all I need to do is keep chipping away quarter inch, half inch here and there. And it's like, well, I can maybe do it. But I saw I was in first and I was like, okay, just keep my head on straight and keep doing what I'm doing sort of thing because it's working.
And this was around
Mm.
noon, you figured out you were still in first?
Yeah. Yeah. I saw that. And then like the standings turned off at some point. So I forget when that was, but yeah. And then
Yeah, I
it's
think it
like,
was the
we got
last
back.
2 hours, so I think it turned off.
Yeah. So it's like you're just like, okay, just gonna keep fishing hard and hopefully keep calling out a couple inches here or there.
Were you able to call any fish towards the end of the tournament?
Yeah, I got a 17.75 at 115. So that was I was just sort of like I was hanging out under one of the bridges, and there's like some boats starting to come through sort of the main area in the bridge, so I had to move off to the side and just I didn't see that rock pile on side scan initially, and I was just sort of scrolling around with active target and saw this rock pile, no fish on it, but I was like, I'll throw at it, and then sort of fish started coming out of it. Realized, okay, there's some fish over there too. So
Like for me, I don't like if I'm doing any well in a tournament, I don't like to text anybody. I try to not look on my phone and focus. And like if the wife calls, I won't tell her if I'm doing well. It's almost like it's like a no hitter going into the eighth, right?
yeah, right.
Are you on the water? You're like excited. Is there anybody that you reach out to or text you like, hey, this could happen? Or are you just like, you know what, I'm gonna fish right to the end and then just accept it?
Yeah, no, I occasionally call my fiance while I'm out there. So I think this tournament, I had two fish that were within either like the same exact size or within a quarter inch. I caught within like 20 minutes in the same exact spot. So I called her and I was like, can you look at these submissions and see if you can tell me if they're the same fish or not? And she looked and she was like, no, they're different. You're good. But stuff like that. And then just to like, I don't know, I can go out there and just fish for 8 hours and not eat or drink water or do anything, I realize. So it's like giving someone a phone call and then being like, okay, I'm going to take a second, reset a little bit, and you can burn yourself out pretty easily when you're locked in like that, right? So I try to make sure I hydrate and get some food in me and at least sit back a little bit. Because at the end of the day, it's for fun. It's to go out there and kill yourself isn't worth it, right? It's you want to be having a good time while you're out in the tournament too. So
Yeah, I mean, we're just fishing at the end of the day.
yeah.
So the tournament ends, right? No standings. You know that you kind of culled a little bit and you're sitting better than you were. You went to the after party, obviously, because I remember you there. So when they announce that you win, like what's the first emotion? What's the first thought that goes through your mind?
Yeah, I was super excited to know officially at the ramp. We were all talking, of course, when we got in, and Anthony was like, I called out 4 inches at the end, and I was like, you're kidding me. So we both looked on our apps, and I was like, what are you at? I think he was like 89.5, and then I was at 89.75. So like I knew I just had him, and then I think like Jake was like, oh no, I couldn't get anything in the end. So as long as like Ken didn't go on classic Ken in the last hour, kill everyone, I was like, okay, I have a chance. So like I was pretty sure that I had it, which was exciting. But yeah, no, I was like super stoked, right, to get my first win ever for a tournament, and then have it be the championship was just cool. It's sort of like you can go crazy going on and on about all this fishing stuff and like rabbit hole with baits and pre-fishing and research and things like that. But to have a little bit of like, it finally clicked and worked was like a really good feeling to know that I can sort of hold my own.
Yeah, and it's kind of a bummer that it didn't work out where we're going to get the trophies. But
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that John Ferrer does have a GoFundMe up.
Yeah, I saw that.
It is
I
true.
donated to that. That was cool. So hopefully that works out.
Listen, I don't care. We're going to push it all year, whatever it takes. Listen, it's a small community, but if you think about it, man, we're giving 30 trophies are going out, 26 trophies. But like, even if you get 52 people, so if, you know, like I haven't donated yet, but I'm 100% going to donate. Even if we get 52 people, there's no doubt about it that we can get up to that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in
yeah.
$1,000 kayaks. You go to Bass
Yeah,
Pro,
right. Like
you drop $250, you know, like let's get these trophies to these people that deserve it. And you know, like you just said, it's your first win. That'd be nice to have that in your house and everybody come see it, you know?
yeah, no, I appreciate it. It's cool what John's doing, trying to get it going. I mean, it's such a cool community. That's like half the fun. You know, I can't like I love all my friends, but I go and try to talk to them about like jackhammers and Sakamoto shads. They're just looking at me with three heads. Like it's good to have a community where like you can get into like, yeah, what weight fluoro are you throwing for your spinnerbait, or like what speed reel? Most people you can't talk to that about. So going to the ramp and chatting with these guys and texting. It's fun to have a community that people as far down the same rabbit hole as you are on a lot of this stuff. So
Yeah, the nerd stuff.
yeah,
Yeah. Love it.
never ending, especially with this winter weather. It's like I'm ordering way too much tackle. So I'm going to be placing 0 orders throughout the year because I've done all this research and finding these weird baits that I want to try and stocking up.
Do you have any goals or expectations for this year, 2026?
Yeah, I want to push myself to travel a little bit more. So gonna be, like I said, doing the New Hampshire bass stuff. So I've never fished any of those lakes. So it'll be cool to break down some new water with that. Excited to hopefully, I think if you do like 3 events, you like automatically qualify points wise for the championship, but go up to that at Champlain. And then I'm thinking about trying to get down to Santee in May. So
Nice.
that'll be a cool experience. There's actually a bunch of guys from the Northeast this year that are doing a lot more of the travel stuff, it seems.
I love
I
it.
mean,
Show
there's
up.
Pennsylvania and then there's also South Carolina. So like those are the guys that are going to like Texas and Florida, like that's crazy because that's like just completely new water, right? Like you're completely out of the zone with that stuff. But it's cool to see the guys hold their own from the Northeast sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, they got a lot of these guys got sponsors too. They got they got the financial backing too, so you know, they can go out there and fish for 5 days before. Not that
Yeah.
I'm not speaking out of jealousy. Like I love it. Like I watch all their stuff. I make sure I follow during the tournaments. I love it when people travel. It kind of like personalizes those far away events, and you're like, all right, like I know these.
Yeah.
I personally know these dudes in it, and it's just love. You just want them all to do well, and except against you. Then you want to be.
Just learn different. Like I've never fished outside the Northeast really, right? Like so it's learning all these different patterns and learn about different vegetation and way different lakes sort of fish. It's a lot of there's so much information online now. It's like yeah, I listen to fishing podcasts pretty much all day at work every day, right? Just headphones in and doing work and just digest all the info and figure out how to apply it.
How does it feel to win the last MAKB event ever?
Yeah, no, it's cool. I haven't been involved with MAKB for the longest, but super cool group of guys. I don't see it dying, right? It's not like in my eyes, it's not the last of the events, right? There's all these reincarnations of it, and we seeing all these people around.
Yeah, for sure. But to get your name on the record books for that 10-year run,
Yeah,
I don't know too many trails, but I hear a lot of people say it rivaled some of the better trails in the country. Kudos to Ken and his team, and then they
there's a
fished it
ton.
and they're just absolute hammers. I
Yeah,
love
it's
it.
like a ton of tournaments. Like when you think about like all the different divisions and all the anglers, like it was an operation. Like I understand how it took a lot out of the guys that ran it. So thankful for those guys that put it on.
For sure, man. And even now it evolved. Like 3 years ago, it was just 2 divisions. And then the
Yeah,
last 2 years, they switched to 5. I mean, 4,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't do well in the Merrimack. I pre-fished it 4 or 5 times. I take it seriously. I use my vacation days. I got on a lot of bites. Nothing really big. And then, the day of the tournament, they weren't where I thought they were. I mean, I was around Todd. I was around John Ferreira.
Where do you launch?
I launched at the furthest one that you can go to in the Mass border, way up. If you went upstream, you go right into New Hampshire.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I read a bunch about like that area with like it being super rocky. I found fish down in that Haverhill area, right? Like there's some docks and things like that. It just looked fishy. So I expected to be only 1 to 3 guys at the ramp, but when I got there, I think a couple other people knew that spot too. So
Yeah, pre-fishing the day. I think it was the Thursday before. It was underneath the bridge. I'm gonna not remember the name. It's nice big green, just a huge arc that goes across. I roll up with the live scope and I'm like aiming it out, and it's like 30 feet off, and you can see it. There's shadows over there, and there's just schools of fish. And I throw out, I catch like a 17 on the drop shot. Boom, it rolls right on it. I pull out, I come back up. They're still in there. They were following the shadows. I throw it back in. It was like a 17. I was like, I'm not going to overfish it, but so I backed off and I was like, all right. And I saw a couple other schools, but they weren't there that day. They were there, but nothing big. I think I caught a couple 10 or 12s, but then I had one fish. It would have probably rivaled Ari's biggest fish of the tournament. It was like,
yeah,
I knew I didn't have it. It was towards the end of the day. I didn't think I had 5 fish, but I wasn't in it. I was just throwing this micro jig. And I was kind of just zoning out, like thinking about the year. I knew it was over. And I was using a little jig on 50-pound braided, and I hooked up onto a good smallmouth, and I bent the hook out of his mouth because
man.
I had 50-pound braided, and he rolled on it right next to me. And I was like, are you kidding me? And then I looked down, like the hook's bent. I'm like, I'm using braided. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah, you just tuned out, like too much time on the water.
Yeah, it's like I'm a chef, so I can deal with a lot of like mental pressure and like time constraint and all that. Like I can, internalize everything and slow it down. But yeah, it was a long year. From I did 19 events, April right through.
Crazy.
I hate to see it go, but it's good. Us Northeast guys, we don't get burnt out. We get the
Yeah.
winter to rejuvenate and almost come back even
Yeah, right.
stronger. Maybe that's why
Yeah.
we're so good when we go elsewhere. Because we're not burnt out.
Yeah. No, you said something back there too, like time management. That's something that I want to focus on this coming year too. Cause like you can dick around with a fish for way too long or on a spot for way too long. And something I've started doing is like, I'll look at my phone, note the time, get to a spot. It's like, okay, if I don't have a fish or a bite or whatever, I don't see what I want to see in the first half hour, moving on, right? Because you see these guys be like super successful just running around and covering water. Like you look at Ken, like I don't know what amp hour battery he has on that kayak, but like it's got to be massive because the dude doesn't ever stop moving, right? So like I think there's a lot to just keep it moving and not fishing dead water. There's finding fish and making sure you stay on 'em.
Yeah, he's sponsored by Dakota, the big battery. So it's like he's probably got every one of them on there. You have any socials or sponsors you want to shout out or?
Yeah. So my Instagram 617 Bass. It's fishing stuff. I post my dog. So it's just sort of casual, post about some tournament stuff or days out fishing. Yeah, no sponsors. Just doing it for fun and being able to excuses to travel and break down new water. That's sort of what it is for me. Just being able to reset your mind just gets you out of reality for a bit.
For sure. Yeah, man. I really appreciate you. I know we didn't share the water much. We never actually got to interact, but I hope I see you on the water this year.
Definitely, yeah. You too, man.
Hey, come back anytime you want. If you're in the state and you win, I'm gonna try to bring all the winners back on that week.
Sounds cool. Yeah,
And
perfect.
yeah, and I'll stay in touch. And good luck on the NH season. I'll be pulling for you up there.
Perfect. I appreciate it. Hopefully talk soon.
All right, Mark.
See ya.
Yes.